Cool, let's get started. This demo is basically a step-by-step guidance for guiding everyone about how to use cursor uh, in a good way. So first of all, let me brief explain about what is cursor. Cursor is in general is an AI-powered coding editor. It is developed based on VS Code, and basically you can imagine this is an IDE, uh, like basically same as VS Code, but inserted a lot of AI powered features. Um, so in this environment, you can finish all your coding tasks and also run like uh, use the terminals and all the other IDE features that you already have in the VS Code. And also you have the access to all these AI functions that you can give instructions to AI models to write code for yourself. Um, yeah, this is just a general description. Here uh, I put the best practice from the Cursor team. We can go through this line by line later. So first of all, just let's go through the core functions and how to set the cursor up. First of all, you should install that. Just Google search it, and you can do the installation and import all the settings and extensions from VS Code, or if you already have VS Code installed in your computer. And then you configure the models. Let me show the how it looks like. Okay, now I have the cursor opened um, in my computer, and I have this basically the UI is same as VS Code. And now we go to settings and the cursor settings, and we can see here we have all this setting page is on top of like in addition to all this normal VS Code settings, we have this additional cursor settings with all the cursor features. Let's go to models. Uh, as you can see, you can configure all the models you can access, and you can specify what's the model you want to use during each API call. And for my based on my experience, my top favorite models, first of all, is Cloud 3.0 Sonnet. Um, has for a few months, this has been the most powerful coding model um, ever. And later we have the Gemini 2.5, which is also pretty capable in terms of the coding capability. Um, so I would recommend for daily use, Cloud 3.7 and Gemini 2.5 are the top two models you should try. And if you want to spend more money, you have these two options, Cloud 3.7 Max and also 2.5 Pro Max. These two models are even more powerful with more parameters in model. But the problem is, since the API calling will be much more expensive, if you use these models in Cursor, you will be charged as pay as you go. So based on how many tokens you use and how many function calls are triggered. And also, in addition to that, we have DeepSeek R1, which is pretty good, and also Grok 3, which is also pretty good, and all three uh, also giving decent coding capability. But the top two model that I recommend everyone to try first is Cloud 3.7 and Gemini 2.5. Okay, if you configure all the model here, the next step uh, is configure the code base and do the index for the entire code base. So now, as you can see, I have this code base already opened. This project is called DeepTutor. We have all these folders and code opened in this folder. And now what we should do is go back to cursor settings, and we have the features. In features, we have all this we have this code base indexing. So the idea is, since we have a large code base and we have a lot of like files and folders, we may have like tens of thousands lines of code. Um, and due to we have limited context window for the large language model, we need to index the entire code base so the model can search about the relevant files based on the indexing results and configure the context for the model to generate the proper response. And I already have the index here. I can delete them and show you how to index everything. Basically, usually this indexing process will be started automatically. And now, if you do not have that already indexed, if you ask questions, what is this project is all about? Is about gonna say you should the code base is not indexed yet, so it should so the response is not gonna be quite relevant to the code base itself. Okay, so now we can compute the index. Probably just wait for a while. Currently, the code base already been indexed and all the files are like synced in the cloud, so the process is faster than usual. Usually, it can take a few minutes. If the code base is super large, it may take for tens of minutes. Just be patient. This is definitely worth it. Not worth it, just must have. Okay, now you have the code base indexed. Then you can ask questions about like what is this project is all about. And before that, I can show how what's the normal setting I would use. So as you can see, we have a few modes here. We have agentic mode, we have ask mode, we have the manual mode. I think you can try ask mode, just ask questions about this code base. And you have manual modes, manually decide what gets added to the context. And currently, I like 99% of the use cases I just use the agent mode. And here you can configure the models here. All the models has been added to in your setting, and you can let the model to auto select, which can balance quality and speed. But I prefer use thinking models. Let's say Claude 3.7 Sonnet is my favorite model so far. We can ask questions about what is this project is about. Okay, just simple questions. You can add context here. You can also do not add context here. So you can add context to specify how, hey, this is the file I want to pay attention to. And you can also, the command is very simple. You can add, let's say, tutor. We have and then we can add a file here. Then tutor file is added as a context here for this query. And you can also get rid of it. Just ask some general questions about what this project is all about, and the model can figure out what it should do. And now start generate. It's gonna plan for the moves. You're gonna explore the directory to check what are other files we have here, and you're gonna check the files when it needs to. Now it's reading through a lot of different files by itself and tells you some results about what this project is about. Okay. Now we have the code base index. We can start to really work on this project and use Cursor to do things for us. But before that, I want to add some comments about some features we can configure to make the cursor even more powerful. So the first thing we can configure is user rules. We can go back to the cursor setting page. Go back to the cursor setting page, and we have this rules. And the rules is basically the global instruction in general that can show you basically the instruction that you want the model to keep in mind for each API call. The user rules will be applied to all the projects you work on. So basically, you can have some pretty general and global rules added here. Here I have some example rules. I can just copy and paste here. Basically, the things you want to include is first of all, tells the model what's the current computer that you're working on, and what's the browser, what's the terminal, um, and some general guidance about what's the thing that you want the model to keep in mind. And you can also go online, get some like a lot of like ton of ideas about how people are using how to configure their personalized user rules. Um, and we also have the project rules here. Project rules, uh, compared to the user rules, project rules are more like related to this specific project itself. Um, probably just zoom out a little bit, and probably I can explain why do we need rules in the first place. The problem is the key problem is large language model so far has pretty limited context window. So basically, you can imagine this all these coding agents has like very good coding capability, but unfortunately, their short-term working memory is pretty small. So there are a lot of things they cannot uh, directly load into their working memory because the context window is just so small. For example, let's say we have some special structure in this code base. Um, the model cannot just put everything into their context window because it's just not able to process that computation because it takes too many parameters. Um, so instead, we can configure the rules that basically let the model to understand this entire code base and write some document there. And when we need to like have some global understanding, we can access to these documents and basically read our notes. It's like read our notes, and in this way, we can generate uh, response in a higher quality. Um, so in terms of writing use project rules, it's pretty easy. It's super easy. We just use a command called there's a command called generate cursor rules. You just you just run it. You just run it, and uh, the cursor will read through this entire code base and understand the structure of this entire project and generate uh, write down some rules that the model thinks should be important for the future development process. And as you can see, we have a folder here called cursor.cursor. Um, all the roles, all the raw files will be stored in this under this folder. Okay, now we can see we have this project overview document uh, already created, and the syntax is pretty simple. Basically, it's just like Markdown like document, and we have this syntax at. It's pretty similar to adding this syntax in a conversation. We can add files, let's say Twitter, add files like this, and in the roles we can also add contacts with this syntax. Basically, at some point you think we should like the model should know should access this file. You just include that in the project rules as well. Okay, so you can see now it's going through this overall structure of its entire code base. First of all, it has some global understanding about how the app is like how the app workflow is like, and it read through the front end structure, read through and also adds the rules about how to get started, and add rules about the pipeline structure, and add rules about the project overview. That's super powerful, and we just set all, and we can see how these rules are created, and when suitable, it will add the contacts files that model should access to. And for the rule type, we have this configure when do we want to add them. If not, we can just simply add, let's say, pipeline structure, can add this rule in the context so the model can access this rule when generating that specific response. Um, but for now, we can also like configure it to be always included in context or auto attached or agent requested or just manual as I just showed before. Let's say the pipeline structure is pretty important. We just set it to always show. And now if you go back to the cursor settings and you go to the rules, you can see we have this project rules already showed here, already listed here that corresponding to all the files here. And you can see this is not shows applies to all requests and all the others will be added manually. Okay, that's basically, and of course you can configure all these rules by yourself. If you think we should add some more comments here, you can just feel free to add it to whatever you want. Okay, now that's about system rules, and also another thing that we should do to help the model have better understanding about how to solve the problem is we need to add the document. So in this project, as you can see, we're using a whole bunch of different packages, and one of the most important packages that we're using right now is the LangChain in the pipeline. So for making sure the model can access the LangChain's document, we can when we ask some questions or ask questions about let's say we go to features lab. With the API test here, I can add something like LangChain. And you can see we already have the official document we can directly load it into. So we just click here. So now we have access to all the LangChain documents in this request. So you can see something like look up the LangChain doc and show me how to make this this test file to have streaming response. Oh, by the way, we have for all the roles we can do the version control. We can basically version control all the role files. We can say okay, the init just project rules test, something like this. And now in this query, you can say you wanted to look up the LangChain doc and show me how to make this test file to have a streaming response. Just click run. The very important thing is just use Git all the time. Just you need to have because sometimes the model is gonna do something really funny and mess up the entire code base, and it just, as you can see, adds a bunch of things, and sometimes you just want to go back to the previous version that you are sure that you can be sure that that version can work well. So as you can see, we already have a bunch of things modified. You can accept them. You can test. You can try to run it and test the functionality of this single file. And if you just don't like it, just like discard all of them and start over. And the funny thing is, since we already loaded the LangChain documents, you can really look through all these different document pages. to have better understanding about how to use LangChain and how to modify the code accordingly. And if we do not have the let's say if you're using some like pretty niche package, let's say you're using something like Arctic, which is not that popular. Something you can do is you can just search for that for the documents of that package. You can open the website. We have a whole bunch of documents. You just copy and paste this URL and say, hey, Arctic. There's no document for that. You just add new doc, and you copy and paste. You can add document here. You can say Arctic. This is a new package that you wanna include it. So as you can see, we have all the docs listed here, and you can index the documents as well. Currently, the green dot shows these are the index. You just can re-index it. Now it's showing yellow line. It's trying to re-index this entire document website. All the pages will be indexed for different purposes. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. And once the index is finished, you can add it into the context. And another trick we can play is you can if you can download this entire document into a local folder, you can do something like you can create a new folder called, I don't know, documentation, and you just manually put all the documentation under that folder. And by indexing this entire code base, the documentation will be automatically included. And sometimes this method can give you more accurate results in terms of accessing the document's information. Okay, that's about documentation. And now another thing that's very powerful. It's not only for crypto, just in general, very good, very fancy tool to try out is MCP servers. What is MCP servers? MCP is the Model Context Protocol, which is an open standard developed by Anthropic to enable large language models to securely and efficiently interact with external tools. So basically, so the problem is now, let's say we try to work on some files, right? We try to work on some very simple files, and we try to give some instruction to the to the coding agent. But the problem is we may not we may have some like pre-personalized database or like pre-personalized information that we want the model to take into consideration as well. So just to give some example, for example, let's say we have a document like this in the Notion, and we want the model to access the Notion and basically have the information in the Notion as context to generate response. And how can we do that? We cannot add Notion as probably we add the document of Notion, but we cannot load the information in the Notion directly in this way. So how can we access the Notion's information? So that's why we need MCP service. Let's say not let alone Notion, you can access information like GitHub, you can access information like Gmail, Google Drive, and all these different information sources. As long as you have the right MCP service for that purpose, you can just access them through the protocol. So let's get clean searches close some of them. Sorry, it's closed. Not the best code. All right. So, so in terms of setting up MCP server, is super easy. You just go to this website. This is just one of the websites you can use. I just use this as an example. After this composal.dat, you can browse through all these funny MCP servers that you can access. You can access the Discord, access Slack, Google Sheets, Google Calendar, Notion, GitHub, Gmail. You can have thousands of different information sources that you can like um, that you can connect through MCP service. So now let's say we want to access Notion. We just uh, we just uh, click generate. We generate a command. First of all, you need to make sure you have the look at this doc. But this doc is guiding you how to set up the MCP service step by step. First of all, you should make sure you have the Node.js installed. And then after copying this command here, oops, let's generate again. Never mind. Just copy that, and you can run this command in the terminal. Okay, showing that the server has been created successfully, and you can go to settings, cursor settings, MCP servers, and you can see we already have the Notion composal created here, and you can now Screenlight is already enabled, and you can see all of these are just functions that the model can access to. Let's say when it knows when it needs information about like some Notion some Notion pages, you can call the Notion search tool, or like insert. You can even modify the Notion. Use this Notion in0 database. Basically, this is the interface that the agent can access to operate Notion, read Notion, modify Notion as human being would do. So that's super powerful. And now, after configuring this, you can ask questions about what is just explain what is the information in my Notion. Just simple question like this, and you see what's gonna happen. You're gonna plan for what should do, and the model is just so smart that it knows now we should call this tool called Notion check active connection. And we run this tool. We can run this tool. It shows we don't have an active Notion connection. So the agent will guide us to set everything up. We just run this tool. There's a tool called Notion initiate connection, which is also one of the tools we can access here. Just run this tool. It may take some time. The network has some delays. Okay, now it tells you to access your Notion information. Please open this URL to do the auth, because now you're configured this Notion server, but you haven't authorized the authorized your you haven't authorized with your Notion account. So basically, the server cannot access your Notion information. Okay, tells okay, you can select pages. You can authorize. Mm, can you can include, I don't know, it's reading, grant access. Okay, authentication is successful now, and then now the ask questions. Um, what did I read in Notion? recently? Just some stupid questions. It's not even related. The call the Notion tools like this. First of all, check the connection, and then it gonna load up the uh, Notion pages. Hopefully, there's no weird stuff coming out. Flash blocks. Okay. So I have one of my person page called Novice credential, and okay. Recently, I have another page about how to refactor the Terra code base. Yeah, it just knows. It just knows what did I do. It just knows what I do recently in my Notion because it has all the information in my Notion account. It's just super powerful. And you can basically have some documentation or just like some in general guidance or like whatever technical documents, whatever that you can put it already stored in Notion. You can access, let the model access that information in this way. But I have to mention that in terms of accuracy, I still prefer putting all the related documents or files directly under the uh, project's code base uh, is the most accurate way. But probably like a few days later, or a few weeks later, this can change. Um, Another thing that probably I should mention is currently we only have one project or one repo open here. We also add folders, and basically we can add folders about, let's say, when tuning the pipeline, we need to coordinate with the backend or frontend. We can add folders like DT backend or like deep tier frontend, and just remember to ignore that folder um, in Git. But you can basically copy and paste all the backend code here and reindex all this entire project, so that so when the agent is doing the coding work, it can access. Okay, so this is how your backend is implemented. So okay, based on this information, how can this information help with the modification in the pipeline part? Something like this. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything for the step-by-step guidance, and please just feel free to go ahead and try it out. Just super exciting that at this time point, um, we have such powerful tools that can help us in a tremendous way. Um, I think I highly recommend that sometimes even uh, like looking at this all the list of tasks that you have, um, you just probably some items you already know how to solve it by yourself. You can write it by hand, but I think it's still a bad practice. Try to try to um try to do that instead of writing it yourself. You try to convert your idea, your plan into some instruction, and you put your instruction into the uh into the uh into the prompt, and you see whether your instruction is clear enough and whether the model can understand the task and get get the work done in a proper way. Um, it's actually a not pretty non-trivial skill, and sometimes if you found probably I missed this information, probably I didn't include that context, and etc. Um, yeah, I think in general this is how probably in the end I can show like a very interesting example about something that I have been working on right recently. First of all, before you do everything, just check this Git version. Uh, okay, let's go to da, 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 da. Token track. Okay, so recently I have been working on how to add the token tracker for the API calls. So the first thing I would do is create a clean single file. Like it can modify many files at the same time, but I usually not recommend that because it's already a safer and easier practice to make sure each file is highly modularized and handle like pretty um, separate functions. And so basically you can modify that file, and if it passes, let's say you have 100 tests. Once all the tests are passed, you can make sure this module is working well. You can do the modifications. If all the tests are passed again, you can make sure, okay, this module, all the modification should be fine. Instead of like, let's say you change 10 files at the same time and everything was messed up. Okay, let's say if you want to do this offline test, what I'll do is just like create a like really simple offline test and see how look at this look into LangChain, like look up LangChain doc and change this file to streaming response while tracking the API cost. Just very simple. Okay, now I read through the docs and mm, cool. Now we have a lot of pages, but you may like it, you may not like it, but you always want the model to try to run it by itself so it can debug automatically. So you add some instruction like you can use the environment and use this environment so the model can know what's the command it should use, what's the environment it should use to run this file. Okay, probably you should add some instructions here, like try to run it after the modify and fix possible issues. So I always just check Git versions constantly to make sure the code base was clean, not floated. All right. Okay, now it knows how to try to run it, and then you're gonna try to do some chats and see whether the token tracking was successful. And now you can see we have clearly have one bug here, right? Because the usage was not properly tracked. Because we switched the mode to the streaming, it's gonna be like it becomes the logic becomes a little bit more complex. So we just accept whatever it says. Okay, still not successful. Unfortunately, currently the other coding agents really prefer adding like adding more and more a lot of codes, try to make everything super complex. And I sometimes you have to just like stop it and start over, and probably just instruct it to okay try to solve this problem, like use this amount of modifications or something like that. Is that it? Close it. It's not useful. Okay, still not working. It takes quite a bit of iterations to figure this out. Um, but the good thing is all these are just automatically executed. And hmm, now this is not good sign because you can see all this stuff are not actually useful. Like solving this problem is actually should be much easier than that. So basically, you can like it's still running, but I know probably this trial is already a fail. I will just discard all the changes and start over again. And sometimes if you feel like any after many iterations just stuck here, something is already worth trying is can use some other tools to figure this out. Let's say, let's just stop it. Stop it here. I don't think this is helpful anymore. Reject. Okay. Okay. Start. Yeah, that's why it is so helpful. You make sure you have the pretty clean version control. Um, okay, so I think now you can try some other tools. Let's say lookup in docs and show me how to add cost tracking for streaming AP costs. Yeah, propose some idea, but actually reading through these ideas, I can say probably like it's not that useful. Probably this is like pretty niche uh bug to fix, but the reading through these proposals they're not really helpful in this case. But let's say you have no clue right now, you can just copy and paste all this method that it proposed to this like you can basically you can refer to the example. Just give some instructions. I really like adding this syntax like three dots like this, basically telling the model that now this part of words is for something special. You can also do something else like I don't know, just you can also use some other syntax. It just doesn't really matter. But it's good to have some symbols to indicate that. Um, yeah, you can do something like this, and yeah, basically this is just showing how one round of iterations may be like, and actually using all these tools and after many iterations, this issue actually took me like more than 1 hour to figure out. Um, so it's like so I think be patient is pretty important. You can imagine like you are dealing with some junior intern which is um has some superpower in terms of composing codes, composing code in like seconds, and you can create like thousands of lines of code, and you can access all these different knowledges like um all this different knowledge like documentation, code base, and all these other information sources. But the problem is it can only be powerful if you shows the way. Like if only be powerful if you show the way. Um, sometimes that junior intern were just stuck here and cannot get out. But what you should do, you should show your mentorship and be patient and try to guide it through this entire development process. I think that's yeah, that's basically the idea. And you can see still stocks here, which is pretty normal. I think um I think for many people at this time point will lose their patience and I just okay, forget about it. I just do it myself. But I think still like always be a little bit more patient and give the agents always give it a second chance to try out. I think can makes a lot of difference. Yeah, I think that's all that I want to share today. Thanks.